around the 6th century BC. In the spring and autumn period in ancient China, there was an ongoing conflict in the warring states. The highlight of this conflict was the Wu-Chu War. In this time period, heroes were made, kingdoms expanded, and the very concept of war was radically changed forever. All of this was made possible by none other than Sun Tzu. Born in 544 BC, not much is known about Sun Tzu's personal life or where he was born. For example, the records of the Grand Historians state that Sun Tzu was born in the Qi state, but some sources say he was born in the Wu or Zhao states. In the small and insignificant state of Wu, their king, King Helou, grew ever more anxious as an ongoing threat was occurring in Wu's enemy, Chu. Since King Helou knew that he couldn't win in a conventional war, he called upon the one man that could save his kingdom from imminent destruction, Sun Tzu. When Sun Tzu was first in the service of King Helou of Wu, he gave Sun Tzu a challenge in which he needed to train 120 of the king's concubines into soldiers. These women lived in the palace and had leisurely lives, but were naive to the fact that Sun Tzu was deadly serious about their training. At first, when Sun Tzu asked them to do the exercises, they laughed. The second time, the same response. So Sun Tzu had the two leading concubines executed, after which they did the exercises perfectly. Sun Tzu proved his point and was given command of the small Wu army. Sun Tzu faced a colossal foe. With 250,000 strong, he was outmanned and outgunned. His army of only 30,000 poorly armed conscripted peasants would only stand a chance if Sun Tzu used cunning battlefield tactics and planning. He avoided major battles and wore his enemies down to the bone. In the end of the brutal conflict, Sun Tzu emerged victorious and even saved Wu's ally, Kai. Sun Tzu radically changed warfare in many ways. He told us how to use deception, spies, and even fire. But the most important lessons he taught were the importance of discipline, compassion, and statesmanship. Discipline was critical because without it, the army is ineffective and disorganized. Compassion, because when you show compassion for your soldiers and conquer people, they will love you. If you give them cruelty, then they'll do everything in their power to stop you. Statesmanship was critical to the balance of the needs of the military and the communities they protect.
The relationship between the army and the state is one of the major things that Sun Tzu is after. That's a fundamental of modern military planning, and it really speaks to the influence that Sun Tzu has. That 2,500 years later, that principle is still being applied every day by military commanders and their staffs.
500 years before Jesus was born, Sun Tzu was busy distilling the thorny problems of battlefield planning, strategy, and resources to 13 concepts so clear they still resound still today. He saw everything as a resource, including his enemies. Balancing the use of resources was critical, making sure to never waste what he couldn't easily replace, whether it was soldiers, equipment, or food. Capturing and using enemy supplies during the Wu-Chu campaign is a great example. The art of war is broken down into 13 chapters of wisdom. They are: the origins of the art of war is said to be the work of Sun Tzu, but some historians doubt that Sun Tzu wrote the art of war or even existed. They believe that it could be a collection of scholars who wrote the art of war using strategies inspired by Sun Tzu's actions on the battlefield. Sun Tzu's art of war began to spread across continents and centuries. The first leader of note to use his strategies was Emperor Qin Shi Huangdi, famous for his terracotta soldiers. In 1772, a Jesuit priest first translated the art of war into French and brought Sun Tzu to the West. This image shows Union soldiers during the U.S. Civil War reading copies of the art of war, though historians don't think those strategies were used widely, perhaps tragically. Kaiser Wilhelm famously stated that, "I wish I had read the art of war 20 years ago after Germany's World War I loss." Operation Fortitude in World War II is the greatest example of Sun Tzu's strategies in the modern era. Allies spied and released false intelligence to deceive the Germans that an attack was coming near the Straits of Dover, but there was no attack planned there, and the Germans unwisely split their military might, weakening their defenses at the Battle of Normandy. Mao Zedong famously drew inspiration from the art of war during the Chinese Communist Revolution. Ho Chi Minh took deception and guerrilla tactics to the fullest and successfully took on the world's most powerful military. And recently, General Norman Schwarzkopf used Sun Tzu's tactics to invade Iraq during Operation Desert Storm. If you Google the art of war, you will get well over 4 million results, most of which are military themed. But a good portion represent other interpretations of Sun Tzu's strategies. This is a stunning testament to his legacy. His ideas are so universal, they can be applied to subjects from politics, to sports, to even romance. One area that picks up his wisdom again and again is the business world. It seems that knowing your enemy is as critical in the boardroom as it is on the battlefield. Popular culture mirrors a near-constant reference to the art of war in everything from comic strips to TV to movies.
I can't believe that worked!
Yeah, art of war. Fight the enemy where they aren't. After all these years, it finally just clicked.
But that's not what it means.
Really?
Not even close.
Sun Tzu was an unparalleled leader in his own time, on the battlefield and as a statesman. His legacy, written millennia ago, continues to expand into areas of life and culture, bringing his clear wisdom to us today and tomorrow.